We need to talk about Cam Skattebo. Now, this is one I've been excited about for a while. We're going to dive into Cam Skattebo's rookie recap and then take a look at what we can expect from him in 2026 and beyond, given what we saw in his first year in the NFL. We got all that and more coming up in this video. Let's jump right into it. So before looking at Cam Skattebo's rookie recap, let's take a step back and look at what we thought about Cam Skattebo, the prospect entering the NFL in 2025. So you can see here, this is my prospect overview of Cam Skattebo with the 20 most comparable profiles to him before he ever stepped foot on an NFL field. And the most important number to look at here is the Cup score column. Cup score being my personal prospect modeling score. It takes into account production at the collegiate level, size and athleticism, and draft capital. And it weights those features in a way to optimize correlation with NFL fantasy points per game. And for Cam Skattebo, with a production score of 61.64, a size score of 79.6, and getting drafted 105th overall, that led him to getting a Cup score of 52.88. And in all honesty, this is a pretty mediocre Cup score for a running back. Obviously, Skattebo was super productive in college, especially in his final year at Arizona State. In his 2024 season, he actually had one of the higher fantasy points per game in my entire database going back to 2014 for collegiate running backs. So I was honestly expecting the score to come out a little bit higher for Skattebo at the time, but at the end of the day, he was an older prospect, and some of his earlier production stuff definitely put a damper on his score. He also got dinged in the size score category for not competing in the NFL Combine and not generating a valid relative athletic score. So as you can see, with a Cup score of 52.88, he did have an interesting mix of comps going into the NFL. Only 3 of his comps, Rachaad White, Kareem Hunt, and James Conner, average over 12 fantasy points per game at the NFL level. So given the fact that Skattebo had such a wide range of outcomes in his comps going into the NFL, I was especially excited to see how he would do in his rookie season. So let's take a look at Skattebo's rookie recap. Here are the highlights that I found from the data in his rookie season. Starting off, he had 410 rush yards and 207 receiving yards across 8 games. He was tied for 4th in the class with 7 total touchdowns. He was 1st in the class in fantasy points per game with 15.96, 2nd in the class with 28.6 first down market share, which says that he accounted for 28.6% of total first downs for the New York Giants when he was playing. This number was 2nd in the class. He was 3rd in the class in receptions per game with 3, and he was 1st in the class in receiving yards per game with 25.9. He was also 2nd in the class in PFF rush grade with an 81, and 1st in the class with a PFF receiving grade of 82.7. And looking at the data for Cam Skattebo when comparing him to other 2025 rookie running backs, his name is at the top of nearly every single metric that is not total rushing and receiving. It's honestly hard for me to find anything about Cam Skattebo's rookie year that's negative. And PFF obviously agrees with this, considering the fact that he was one of the highest graded running backs by rushing and receiving in the 2025 class. So given all this good stuff about Cam Skattebo from his rookie season, let's take a look at his year 2 comps and see what we could expect from him in 2026 according to the data. So looking at this chart right here, this is my year 2 comps for Cam Skattebo based on his prospect profile and stats from his rookie season. And the features chosen for my year 2 comps were done so by looking at which ones showed the highest correlation with fantasy points per game on a year-over-year basis. And these features are the Cup score, so the prospect score for this player, which is obviously still very important considering the fact that we only have a 1-year sample of these players in the NFL. We also have year 1 fantasy points per game, year 1 first down market share, so what percent of those first downs for your team were you responsible for? Year 1 receptions per game, so how involved were you in your team's receiving game? And finally, year 1 yards after the catch per reception, so how effective were you in the receiving game when you had the ball in your hands? And finally, we have top 5, top 12, and top 24 fantasy point per game finishes for each of these players across their career. I should also mention that these tables are sorted by similarity, so the top row is the most similar player with the bottom row being less similar. And for Cam Skattebo, we see a pretty awesome list of comps here, especially given the fact that he came into the NFL not as a blue chip running back prospect. Of his 20 closest comps, we see 19 of them hitting at least one top 24 finish across their careers, which Skattebo did in his rookie year. We also see 12 of 20 of these comps hit at least one RB1 finish across their careers, which Cam Skattebo also did by fantasy points per game in his rookie season. And finally, we see 7 of his top 20 closest comps hit at least one top 5 finish across their careers. And we get multiple guys with several top 5 finishes like Devon Achane and Alvin Kamara. Needless to say, these numbers make me extremely bullish on Cam Skattebo's future. I think there's no doubt at this point, given what we've seen him put on tape in his rookie year, that he can be one of the best all-purpose running backs in the NFL. The one thing giving me any sort of pause with Cam Skattebo would be the leg injury that he suffered ending his rookie year. However, he is expected to be 100% for training camp for the 2026 season, and until I hear otherwise, I'm expecting him to be a full go week 1 of next year. To me, he feels like one of the best trade targets in Dynasty Fantasy Football. He's currently going off the board as the RB15 in Dynasty startups, behind running backs like Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins from the 2025 class. And it's hard for me to see why you would take those guys over Cam Skattebo, given what we've seen from him so far in his career. He's an absolutely electric running back, and I can't wait to see him back in action in 2026. Be sure to let me know in the comments what you guys think about Cam Skattebo. Are you expecting big things from him in 2026 as well? Or are you a little bit more worried about the injury than I am? Make sure to check out the channel for other 2025 rookie recap and year 2 comp videos. I'm making one for every 2025 prospect that I think is worth talking about. And also keep an eye out for 2026 rookie content coming over the next few months. That's all I got for this one, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.